Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be looking at the ever-long frustrating struggle of how to title your novel. One of the lucky ones out there and have been like, yeah, I've had a title in mind for months. I thought of the title before I even started writing the novel. And if that's the case, then good for you, and I mean that with as little sarcasm as possible, because I am not one of those people. I struggle so much with titles and it is a pain in the backside, so if you're one of those people that's like, that's the title of my book, then please teach me. If you're anything like me, then it's just a complete free-for-all. It is a jumble of words where you want to try and find something snappy and something fun and something that's gonna, maybe it's gonna hint at something big in the story later on, but you're not gonna understand the reference. Sometimes it's just more blank and the blank, just to get the point across as quickly as possible. There are countless ways to title your novel, and they are all just a complete cluster truck in your mind when you're trying to find it. So I was thinking of putting together a few little tips that have helped me along the way when trying to think of novel names and titles and stuff like that, and they've really helped me. They might not help everybody, but then this is, you know, writing is a very personal and insanely frustrating but also hopefully rewarding kind of journey, so if you want to give them a go ahead. If not, then no one's forcing you, and if you try them and they don't work for you, then I'm sorry. One of the first things to remember when you're picking a title is don't go overboard. Do not try and create this epic, like, 3-line title to try and cover as many bases as possible, or to try and make it, you know, poetic or anything like that. Sometimes less is more. Sometimes you don't have to go overboard and be the adventures of so-and-so and so-and-so, the quest for blankitude, I don't know. Sometimes you don't have to go on this big epic long quest to have a big epic long title. Sometimes just the quest of blank will do just fine. It's you know, because sometimes people will look at this really long title and think, this might be a little bit pretentious, and if it makes sense for the story, if it makes sense for your writing style, then by all means go for it. But I found that the less is more tactic with titling comes in handy, because it's just bam, one thing you have to worry about, one thing that references to the whole story, you're done. Well, you're not done, but even if you expand on it later, sometimes having a simple title as a page holder will sometimes grow on you even more. It gives you more time. If you have a page holder, then you can focus more on the story, and then you can worry about the title later, and because you have that page holder, you have something to refer to, and sometimes that just gets expanded on its own later on, that you do not have to stress right now to make this epic title. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Although it can be fun to drop red herrings or hints to plot twists or revelations later in the story in your title, I would not recommend doing it, because sometimes you have those crafty little buggers out there that will just see a title, start reading the book and go, well, I haven't seen anything that relates to the title yet. That's the plot twist. And it can be really frustrating for both the reader and the writer when they figure something out so early on. So yeah, I would avoid putting any little major hints of plot twists or betrayals or anything like that in the title. It can be the same with MacGuffins. If a character has an entire quest based around finding this one item, then by all means you can have that one item as the title of the book, but when it is just that, it kind of feels like it's going to be very one-dimensional, like, okay, well, what's going to happen once they get this thing? There's no build up in the title, I suppose. If you're told straight away, this is the MacGuffin, off you go, and you're just reading the story like, what else am I expecting? Avoid major hints, avoid plot twists, and avoid using the main MacGuffin as your title, because the story just kind of ends there otherwise. This could be a very premature step for a lot of people, but if you are planning on having a series, then it might be worth trying to figure out what is the defining factor for each book. So, for example, with my series, I've got branded. That might change later down the line, but at the moment I know that branded is going to be the word that will connect not just the main series but the sister series and the crossover. So then when it comes to sequels and the sister series, there is going to be an extra little tagline attached to it. So it's not just going to be like branded 2 Electric Boogaloo or anything like that. So for example, Harry Potter and the Mistborn, the Final Empire, his Dark Materials, Northern Lights, the Amber Spyglass, etc. There's a defining factor that connects all of these books together. You need to figure out what that defining connection is going to be, but then also what the differing plot points are for each story to add on to the end, just so people know where they stand, what the order's going to be, and also still knowing that it's part of the same series, but knowing that some things are not going to be the same, that there is going to be more to it, just to give it a bit more meat. It's probably one of the trickiest ones, to be honest, because I am struggling big time with it. I know what the connector is going to be, but everything else is just going completely over my head at the moment. I will get back to you. So yeah, if you're planning a series, find the defining factor that will connect them all, find the differing factor that will set them in order. Despite all of this, do not be afraid to have fun when finding your title. Sometimes picking a title, even though it is frustrating and you do find yourself just going around in circles and you don't really know where you stand with half of it, it is fun to find, you know, something that you can really call your own. It's not just going to be my story or the story with blank. It's just going to be, this is the title. Have fun with it, experiment, go crazy. Even if you call it something absolutely ridiculous at the start and you know it's going to change, it's still going to be fun knowing that at one point in time this was the quirky name that you came up with until you found something else. Hell, maybe you'll even stick with the quirky name just because it's grown on you so much and it still has something to do with the story. Just, you need to enjoy it in your own way. And finally, please do your research. It is often said that there is no such thing as an original idea anymore, which I absolutely hate but can't necessarily disagree with, and it's frustrating. But that being said, if you've thought of something, even if you're putting your own personal twist on it, odds are there are similar things out there, just with other people's personal twist on it. So it is going to go back and forth, so you need to do your research. If you have a name in mind, if you have a title that's like, yep, this works, this is how my book series, my book, my novel is going to be referred to, this is the one, then please do your research. Look up that title online, be it Goodreads, Amazon, even just a random Google search, just to see if any other works come up with a similar title or with the exact same title. Find out what the market is, because the last thing you want to do is to name your book something eerily similar to something else and then just have it be completely washed out in a saturated market. You don't want to go too similar. Having something that is completely unique and finding a title that has never been used before is going to be pretty much impossible, so don't stress too much about it. If something comes up that has like 3 or 4 of the similar, what are my fingers doing? If you have a title pop up that has similar words to another book series out there, then do not stress. You just need to make sure that it is different enough to stand out, but not similar enough that you're going to either get told off or you're going to get lost in the market that has already existed. Research and creativity is probably one of the biggest contributing factors of writing in general. You need to know your stuff and you need to have the creativity to know how to use it with your own personal twist. And the same goes with titling your book. If you have the creativity to come up with names and snappy ideas, or found a way to connect a whole series together but with each one having its own thing, then you need to do the research to make sure that other people have not already snatched it away from you, because then you're back to the drawing board. And the last thing you want to do is to have your book be published without doing this research and to have it out in the world and then everybody can't find it because they're getting it confused with something else, or they can't find it because it is just so random. God knows these have really tripped me up in the past, and guaranteed they will continue to trip me up in the future, because I have still yet to name quite a few books in this series that I have planned, and It is fun in a way where I get to explore and run with it a little bit and experiment, but at the same time it is a bloody nightmare because I'm just at the stage where I'm talking my brain around in circles. It's great. I hope these have helped you in some way. They definitely help me, but everyone learns and does things differently. The camera, I swear to God. So I understand if you've tried these already and they haven't worked, or if you've found other ways of working for you, then, you know, if you have them, please send them my way because I'd love to know more. Yeah, I am sorry if you've tried these and they haven't worked for you, but at the same time, if they have worked for you, then I'm really glad. Let's swap ideas. What can you tell me about naming novels that would help along the way? Because God knows I need it. Yep, I'm gonna stop here before I go rambling even more. Titling the book can be as tricky as writing the damn thing, so it is just a series of trial and error. Unfortunately, I have nothing else to say. But good luck to all of you out there, and I hope you're doing well, I hope you're staying safe, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye, my scribblers.